Hey y'all, happy Wednesday. All right, so let's talk in. Daddy's lesson was be a giver. And I will say, again, Dad didn't sit us down and talk to us a lot about, you don't sit down and really teach lessons, but our children learn by watching us. And I saw my dad be a giver. Particularly like Natalie and I talked about last week, the things that we're talking about right now, we're in those really formative years of our lives where we're making decisions and we're kind of figuring things out. And so I remember on multiple occasions when, and and I suppose I kind of put these things together because he would never say this. Never. He never. I mean, he took it to his grave that this is what he did. But um, he, the pastor at the time, would let him know if there were people in the church who had trouble making their rent or did not have groceries, and he would. I'm just gonna cry. He would open his wallet and give money for that because he was a conduit. He would pay their rent or their electrical bill or their grocery bill. And truthfully, we are blessed. My family is blessed. But it's not because it's always been easy. And it's not because we have always had an abundance. The Lord is abundantly good. But we didn't live in the best house. We didn't have the nicest things. We didn't shop at the nicest stores. Mom and Dad were building a business. And so sacrifices were made. But I cannot tell you how many times I have seen the Lord be faithful. I have seen him be true to his word. And so when I say, when I read it in here, that's it. I have seen him come through too many times to doubt that he'd fail me now. And that is honest to God's truth. That, and I'm talking about finances here. I'm talking about money. Again, something that I believe the church shies away from because we don't want anybody to get offended. And I hear people talk about a prosperity gospel. Honey, do you know what gospel means in the Greek? It means good news. And there is good news about your finances. Jesus took care of us all. He took care of every piece of us and everything that affects us and everything that we are affected by. When he says that I've come that they might have life and have it more abundantly, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. In Matthew 6, he talks about the things that the heathen need. Even the heathen have need of these things. Those who were not God's people. And you know what he's talking about there? Food, shelter. He talks about how the lilies are clothed. There is none clothed as beautiful as the lilies. And he says, how much more valuable are you? It is a lie of the enemy that says, God doesn't care about your money. He does, very much so. Because money is directly related to your needs and the things that you must have, the things that you need in this life. And so in those early days, which wasn't really early for the business, but in my early days when things were tighter than tight should be, and in today's times it's really hard for people to remember or to realize that sometimes business owners would go without a paycheck. And mom and dad did that again in the early days of the business to be sure that their employees were taken care of, because not everybody pays their bills when they're due. But they saw the Lord be faithful. They proved him over and over again. And Dad chose to be a vessel. Dad chose to be a conduit so that he could prove God faithful to somebody else, to another family who was trying their absolute best, to a mom and dad who needed food for their kids, or whose heat was about to be turned off. And the beautiful thing is that I don't know who these people are, and they don't know that he did it. And I don't know that he knew who they were, but he knew they had a need. And he knew he was a giver. He knew that God had commanded him, God had called him to be a giver. So we'll pick up here tomorrow. I'll see you then. Bye, y'all.